I finished some leaves for, oh my goodness, you can't see them. I finished some leaves for the branch hat, so hopefully I can kind of wrap that up tonight. But I actually want to start going through this bad boy over here, which that drawer down there is hiding a lot of fabric. And then there's just like a lot of stuff. There's some stuff in this closet that I need to go through. I'm on my swivelly chair, can you tell? So I'd like to focus on some of that and yeah, figure things out. But I want to go through it and make sure that when I move, I'm only taking the things that I absolutely need, because as of right now, where I'm moving is, where I'm supposed to be moving, is a lot smaller. It's going to be a much smaller space, and then a lot of our stuff is actually going to be in storage. So I just want what I actually need, and I will end up donating a lot of stuff. So that's going to be really fun, and I'm trying to find, actually I already have like a ton of yarn that needs to be donated. So I'm working on trying to find a like woman's home or a senior center or somewhere where I can donate this stuff and have it actually like be accessible and used by people who need it, because some of it's like brand new and I'm like, I don't want to just donate it to Goodwill and then just it sit there on a shelf or anything. I was like, why not give it to people who are crafters or want to get started on knitting or something but just don't have the means to. So yeah, I'm gonna do that. Alright, here's my first thing. By the way, we purchased a couple of these plastic containers from the, what's that fancy store? The Container Store. And they are great, I do have to admit. It was worth the disgusting amount of money that we spent on plastic containers, but it's really wonderful to be able to see what's inside of them. So I commandeered one for myself. Also, having like multiple clips around the side means you can shove whatever you want into this. So this box contains a multitude of sins. I mean, honestly though, it does. So this entire bag was once much bigger, and now it just contains Knit Picks palettes. So this is like the one yarn that I'm really good at hoarding because it comes in very handy all of the time. But I actually did go through it completely, and I cut out like a good half of my collection just because I knew I had never touched it, and some of it was brand new and I have had it for like 4 years now. So I was like, okay, obviously I'm never gonna knit with it, so bye. This though, on the other hand, are like colors that I use all the time. They make great hats. It's really wonderful to be able to gift hats to people. And then there's some of it in here that I am saving for a Fair Isle sweater someday soon, hopefully. Fingers crossed. This is a box of floral design supplies. And then here's the good stuff. So I do want to organize all of my fabric into like all of my interfacing and batting and stuff like that is going to go into. Alright, so the majority of stuff in here is just finished objects that are winter projects and things that I just want to keep forever and that I love to no end. I usually go through this stash on a regular basis, and a lot of it I package up and I take home to my family and friends, and I say, please have at it. Especially when I didn't live in a temperate zone. Is that what it is? When I lived somewhere where there wasn't winter or cold weather, I always had a supply of stuff. I even have these beautiful mittens that my best friend made me, and she even spent the time to line them with flannel, and they were so wonderful this winter. Like, I can't even. Anyways, the point is to not go through this. I just recently went through it, and it's all perfect and wonderful. So I mean, why would I ever need to get rid of any of it? I'm just saying. fabric. Some of it isn't, some of it is, but a lot of this I can get rid of. And a lot of it I might save and start making, like, I can't believe I'm going to say this, I might set aside stuff for another quilt. Don't at me. I have these wall hangings that I absolutely love. Hopefully in my new place I will have more space to hang them. So they look really nice on a rod. And then this is a collection of t-shirts that I will be keeping and I don't even need to worry about because I do want to make a t-shirt quilt one day. So now that everything is out, I think I'm just gonna start going through stuff. So this is the drawer that I really need to go through. Yes, I understand that you need attention and love right now. But why don't you come in here and talk to me about it rather than screaming from the other room? He's not dying, he's just acting like he is. I just have to ignore him and hope he quiets down. Tell the camera why you're upset, please. This is the one who's been making all that noise. I'm only being nice to him because I'm on camera. You're a poopy punk. Okay, here is the pile of stuff that I am getting rid of. Got some books. Some yarn. I have a ton of yarn in my car that I'm also getting rid of. And all this fabric that I don't need and I'll never use. So, woohoo! So I'm feeling good today. I think I'm gonna try to finish this, or at least put the last bit of border on and then trim it down to size and put the finishing binding tape on, and then look at that, people. We'll be so close to being done. But I think since I want this to look really good, I think what I'm going to do is sew the binding tape, like baste it on there with my machine, and then once I fold it over, I'm going to hand stitch it. I'm going to try. I would love to do that just so it doesn't look super wonky. I would like that nice like bound edge, if you know what I'm talking about. Probably not. I'm also making focaccia, which maybe I'll show you guys some of that. Alright. Important quilt update news. The border is now on. The corners are mostly a disaster. I could have like looked up how to do it. I didn't. I don't care. I'm just gonna fudge it and make them look good. I ironed them, so I have all these ends on the back, so when you do the quilting, you just run your stitch. You don't back stitch at the beginning or at the end. In the original quilt, you're just going to cover that with your binding, so that's going to hold all the stitching in place. Now, I thought that I was going to have to pick them all and knot them all so that they don't unravel, but because I put that border on, I think the border stitching will help hold it in place. Anyways, I'm going to have to mess around with it and sort of figure out what I need to do as far as all of this goes. So, yay! More work before I get to put the binding on. Here is where I'm at today. I got the rest of the border put on, trimmed up, and I am starting to work on the binding. But I did this one side. I think that's kind of it for today. Now that I have this binding on, I'm not really loving the border, and I do regret my border decision, but it's too late now, so whatever, I don't care. My regret is that this is very white and this is very not white. This is like distressed eggshell. I don't know. Ed just really wants some attention. Hey, buddy. Yeah. I love you too. Your butt is very stinky. Alright, let's go make some focaccia. Okay. Don't understand how beautiful it is. Anyways, I'm gonna enjoy this focaccia. Because this was like the best thing I've ever baked in my life. Ta-da! I finished it. Hi. So like I said, I finished my quilt. I finished it over the weekend, which was I think on Saturday I wrapped it up. So my original plan for the binding had been to like hand sew the whole thing so that way you didn't see any stitching. I started doing that I think on Thursday night last week and was immediately like, no. It was just gonna take way too long. And it was just really tedious and obnoxious, and I didn't like how it was looking, and I felt like it was gonna be too flimsy. And I was like, whatever, I'll just sew it on the machine, and it might not look as clean or crisp, but it's gonna be finished, and at least it's gonna like hold together. It's not gonna fall off or anything. So, as you might have noticed, I did actually go ahead and add that extra border piece. I don't love the idea of the border, which is fine. Just the whites clash. But it was a great way to use up extra fabric and then also just make the quilt like a little bit bigger. So now it's a really nice size. It's a great like picnic blanket or couch blanket or lay on the floor, chill out blanket, or even just a little bed topper. And it's just, it's great. I'm proud of it. I think it turned out really well. My stitching's not amazing or anything like that. Surprisingly, did have fun making it. There was a small period where I was doing the quilting where it was really tedious and I kind of got annoyed and set it aside for a while, but I got over it and I moved on, and then I found some good podcasts to listen to and I just flew through the sewing. Yes, all in all, Alice in Wonderland quilt is finished. I'm very proud of it. I don't think I have much else to say. If I feel very ambitious, I would love to embroider the poem, why can't I think of the name of it? The walrus poem, The Time Has Come, the walrus said. I would love to embroider that somewhere on here. That would be really fun. I have other projects to sort of focus on right now. So I have more sewing projects that I'm going to make, and my goal essentially is to kind of make all of these things, because once I move, I might not have access to my sewing machine for a while. I just don't really know where I'm going to be able to set it up yet. So I would like to try to get some of these projects out of the way. I do have a pattern that I actually want to sew. But yeah, that's going to be fun, and maybe you'll get to see some of those later on. Untangle this. So what I have have here is my Shifty sweater. It's really coming along, you guys. I am actually going to put it on some waist yarn so I can try it on and check out the length and fit and see how I like it. I'm just a handful of rows away from doing the hem. So I'd say roughly 4 more inches. I'll have to check the pattern and figure out if those measurements are correct. I have an issue with crop tops. I like cropped stuff, but not super cropped. This is actually a really good example, as this is the Ripple Crop Tee by Jessie Maed Designs. This is just a little bit too short. Granted, I didn't have enough yarn to make it much longer, so that was more on me than on the pattern. But it hits like above my natural waistline, and I like my crops to just hit a little bit below my natural waistline, closer to my actual hips. So basically a regular sweater. Just because I don't own too many like high-waisted pants or skirts. Most of my stuff is like hip height. Plus I'm not super comfortable with just like baring my stomach to the world. But those are my own personal issues with my stomach and how it looks. But that being said, I do just want to make sure I'm being a little bit more thoughtful about the length of this, so that way it's actually something that I want to wear, because I do find with this one, since it's so short, I don't wear it as often as I would like, just because I really only have like these overalls and one other skirt that it kind of works with that's high enough. But it turns out I'm going to have plenty of yarn to make this sweater. I thought that I was going to have a little bit less, but I am flipping back and forth between the different colors of yarn enough that it's going to be fine. And then my second little plan, which could be a disaster, I have no idea. What I was thinking about doing, if you can notice, or if you see, that we kind of have this big stripe across the middle, and then it kind of goes back to the previous colors that it was before. I kind of want the stripes over here to be reversed from the body. I don't really want the sleeves to match the body, so I think I'm gonna do that. I think I'm gonna mess around with it and kind of do the reverse, just because I think it will be fun. It might look terrible, but I want to try to disperse the different yarns more evenly. The original pattern just has one background yarn and then changes all of the colors that are the little nubs. That's where your color changes are. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to do it and just screw it, try to use up all of my yarn, and it'll just be it's going to be a great fall wear. I love it. So yeah, try on time now. Make sure it all works and it's all going well, and then I can start finishing this, which is crazy because this has been one of the quickest sweaters I've knit. So probably because it's very small, but it's mainly the only thing that I've been knitting right now. So it's been getting a lot of love and attention. Alright, you guys can kind of see what it's looking like. I think it's looking pretty good. It's a little tight. I'm really hoping that this yarn, sorry, the lighting is all messed up. I'm really hoping this yarn actually does end up blocking out a little bit. It does have like nylon and stuff in it, so not so sure. But we'll see. Sorry, I tucked my excess yarn in there. Details. It's gonna be cute. It's gonna work out, so I think it's gonna be cute. I think it's gonna work. I'm just gonna do one extra round of little nubs because that'll add like a 1/2 inch, and I think that will be safe. And I think it'll be okay. So, I'm excited. So here's my most recent postcard set. This is all done with Posca or Posca paint pens, however you prefer to pronounce it. So I've been kind of messing around with this artwork style for a while. I really love all the little tiny details that I can add to these pieces. For this set, I opted for a more natural look, more like what colors the plants actually are. I don't have a wide variety of colors in my Posca pen set, but I thought these still turned out pretty neat. I still have a lot to learn, but I had a lot of fun making them, and I'm considering turning them into some prints to sell, some little postcard prints. So I'm kind of seeing if people are interested and if that's going to be something that I want to start making. This one is probably my favorite, and this one comes in a close second. Again, it's basically just down to the detail, so they do need to be scanned and cleaned up, all that stuff, but still, I think they turned out pretty good. I'm excited. Hi, so I thought I would pop on here and do a little bit of a voiceover. I didn't really have a great sign-off for this vlog. I ended up recording over 2 hours worth of footage of me crafting and creating over the month of June, so I've decided to split it into 2 separate vlogs. I didn't have a sign-off for this episode, so I just wanted to get on here and say thank you so much for watching. As always, I really appreciate that you take your time to hang out with me and just catch up on what I'm making and creating and listening to me as I meander through my projects. It's always really wonderful to get to hear from you guys. I really do appreciate your comments. It's really fun to get to talk to you, especially about what you're creating and what you're making. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. I do apologize if it was a little choppy. Tends to happen. I'm not super strict with when or how I film or what I'm filming. I'm trying to work on getting a little bit more streamlined and sharing a more clear process. Please feel free to like this video, to dislike this video, to comment, as well as subscribe to see new videos and to especially see that next vlog that I'm putting up. So thank you again, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.